The Sino Vietnamese War, also known as the Third Indochina War, was a brief but intense conflict between China and Vietnam in 1979. It stemmed from complex geopolitical tensions involving regional power struggles, ideological differences, and border disputes.
Background. Sino-Soviet split. The ideological rift between China and the Soviet Union, both communist powers, was a major factor. Vietnam was closely aligned with the Soviet Union, which strained its relationship with China, especially after the fall of Saigon in 1975, when Vietnam emerged as the dominant power in Southeast Asia. Cambodian-Vietnamese War, 1978. In December 1978, Vietnam invaded Cambodia and overthrew the Khmer Rouge regime, which had been supported by China. The Vietnamese occupation of Cambodia and their alliance with the Soviet Union alarmed China and contributed to the conflict. Border disputes. There were also long-standing border tensions between Vietnam and China, exacerbated by the influx of ethnic Chinese refugees into China after being expelled from Vietnam.
The war. Date. The war began on February 17, 1979, when China launched a full-scale invasion of Vietnam. Chinese invasion. China mobilized over 200,000 troops and attacked northern Vietnam in what was described as a punitive war to teach Vietnam a lesson for its actions in Cambodia and its perceived disrespect of China. Vietnamese defense Vietnam. With its battle-hardened military from its recent conflicts, the Vietnam War mounted a fierce resistance.
They relied heavily on guerrilla tactics and their knowledge of the terrain.
Vietnam also had strong backing from the Soviet Union, though direct intervention by the Soviets did not occur. Casualties and destruction. The war was brutal, with tens of thousands of casualties on both sides. The fighting was largely concentrated in northern Vietnam's border provinces, causing significant destruction. But the war did not expand much deeper into Vietnam.
Outcome. Chinese withdrawal. After about a month of fighting, on March 16, 1979, China declared the war over and withdrew its forces, claiming victory. However, neither side achieved clear strategic goals. Vietnam remained in control of Cambodia, while China demonstrated its willingness to intervene militarily in Southeast Asia.
Aftermath. The war did not resolve the underlying tensions. Skirmishes and border clashes continued throughout the 1980s, though no large-scale war occurred again. Vietnam's occupation of Cambodia persisted until 1989. The relationship between China and Vietnam remained strained for many years, though they gradually normalized relations by the early 1990s. Significance. Regional power dynamics. The Sino-Vietnamese War marked a turning point in Southeast Asian geopolitics. It exposed the fragility of communist unity as China and the Soviet Union were at odds, with Vietnam caught in the middle.
Sino-Soviet relations. The war underscored the depth of the Sino-Soviet split and was one of the last significant military actions associated with the Cold War. Impact on Vietnam. Vietnam, despite its military resilience, faced economic hardship following the war, partly due to the cost of maintaining its occupation of Cambodia and partly because of its isolation, as China's conflict also affected its diplomatic relations with other Southeast Asian nations. In essence, the Sino Vietnamese War was a short but significant conflict that reflected the broader Cold War struggles and regional dynamics in Southeast Asia. Thank you for watching the video, The Sino Vietnamese War, provided by History and Current Events. This is Sarah, Lily, Gina, John, Brian, and Tony have contributed so far as narrators. Thank you.